の4次元交差とこのペンタゴンのクロノスチェンジという必殺技で1回戦に当たる筋肉マンたちを必ず倒す。
So today, guys, we're going to be going over Black Hole, the Articulation, and Pentagon, his relative, also known as the 4D Killers Tag Team Combo. Super excited because this has been a long time coming. Not even before I started this YouTube channel, even just being a kid many years ago when these guys came out, I always wanted these figures. They're super rare, super hard to find, super expensive. I get into all that. Today we're going to cover their presentation, their articulation, their accessories, and luckily, since we have the whole line, I'm going to use Toguro as a comparison. But if you guys want to see a comparison to the entire line, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Let me know, and I'll do more Revoltech mini reviews. So for now, let's get into the meat and bones of the real deal.
Alright everybody, back over here switching sides. So we're gonna get right into it. As I said, I don't want the intros to reviews to be too long. I'd rather the review itself be the long part. So we're gonna start off with Black Hole, just because that's who I grabbed by coincidence. We're gonna be doing an unboxing today. So, viewer, you might be asking, J-Man, I've heard of Revoltech, but what the heck is Revol Mini Micro Yamaguchi? Well, I did a review on Robin Mask already. We might as well bring him over here since we don't really need this setup anymore. I did a review on Robin Mask, who at the time I said during the review was the best one yet, right? Just because, see if we get him in 4K with the improved lighting now. I feel like my previous Robin review didn't do him justice. I feel like the previous Robin review didn't do him justice in terms of the lighting, not in terms of the review itself. I went pretty in depth, but yeah, pretty impressed. I think he's great, but that's not the point of this video. The reason I mention that is because at the time, I thought he was the best. I did have an issue with his leg, but one thing I noticed, I think it might have just been when I said the stiff joint, because ever since I've been like using him, the leg cooperates more now. So I think maybe the joint must have been a little just extremely stiff, and then like me actually, I've been using him a lot for the shorts, and he's been popular, and I'm gonna get into that. That's part of the reason why these guys are popular, right? So, Revol Mini. Revoltech is a standard line of figures. Revoltech, Amazing Yamaguchi, usually refers to a 1/6 scale line, right? AKA 6-inch figures that kind of look like this. This is the Revoltech Bakugo. They're very stylized, very dramatized, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean if you see a Yamaguchi, you know it's a Yamaguchi. Just from, they have a very similar musculature structure. You kind of see that in the shoulder right there. It's not the exact same, obviously. This is way newer or more recent of a figure in terms of age and compared to Robin Mask. But you guys get the point that I'm trying to establish. They're very dramatized, very stylized. If you guys want to see the My Hero reviews, let me know. I've got a couple My Hero figures. It's just, obviously, there's a lot of figures I have, so. Trying to decide on what content to push out first. And obviously my priority is Kiniku Man. Don't worry about the head coming off. That's normal. That's fine. That's just something he can do with expressions. But yeah, don't worry about the head coming off. That's fine. That's just something to do with expressions. You know what I mean? So, I'm gonna have to edit all this shit out of this motherfucker. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, bro. It's like every time I wake up, I don't have time to relax. Don't mind the expressions coming off, guys. That's just part of what the figure does. You're supposed to pop the head off and swap the expressions. But I was losing my track of thought. Let's take it from the top. So yeah, the Yamaguchi line, this is the one thing I don't like about this Bakugo. He has like this arm system. I'm just not a fan of it. But anyways, the Yamaguchi line is known for having extremely dramatized and stylized figures, right? Bakugo is a great example. I mean, in 4K, he looks phenomenal. I mean, he is a phenomenal looking figure. I won't deny that. If you guys want to see My Hero reviews, let me know. just trying to decide on what content I pump out. I am trying to be a Kinnikuman Man channel, but we are also a shonen channel in general, so if you guys want to see my hero, let me know. But anyways, sidetracking. This guy looks great, and that's usually what Yamaguchi is known for. Lots of nice accessories, right? Come with lots of effects, lots of expressions. They're known to be like very popular depictions of like your favorite characters, and they're not limited to just anime. There's plenty of like Yamaguchi comic book characters, which is why I actually think the My Hero Yamaguchis turned out so well. I like to do research sometimes for the video, just out of curiosity, and I was doing some research on Yamaguchi prices, and I already remember paying like, I don't know, somewhere between $80 to $100 back in the day, and people these days are charging like an arm and a leg for these guys. I mean, I don't blame them, because I mean, just look at Deku. He looks phenomenal, right? Like, this is my favorite Deku figure. This is the second time I brought him up in a review. That's how you know I like him. And I'm not saying I don't like the character, but I always say this, when a game is good enough or a figure is good enough, it makes you like the character more just because it's so well made. And this figure is one of them. It's my favorite version of Deku. I don't like when he has the big silly gloves. I like these kind of streamlined, sleek. Like, he looks kind of like a Kamen Rider. He looks great. I love it. But I'm only saying all that. Oh, fell over. I'm only saying all that to establish what the Yamaguchis are, right? So then, here we are, many years ago, not many years later, because those figures are actually newer than these. Many years ago, I have to do my exact research. I'll put it up. I'll put the exact specification somewhere in this area. But somewhere between, I think it was like 2011 or around 2011 to like 2014, 2015, Revoltech decided they wanted to make a new line, right? We're gonna show the box off while I have. They wanted to make a new line of figures, right, known as the mini Yamaguchis. I'll also put a picture right here, but they actually already have a Toguro in 1/6 scale. And he actually comes, I'm thinking about getting him one day, not anytime soon, but one day, because he comes with his blue KKD armor. There's not a single articulated figure that does that except the Revoltech one. But the point I'm trying to establish is they were like, okay, let's do a mini line. And the mini line consists of these literally generational, I know that's a strong word, but in my opinion, generational 3-inch figures that have been look, I still got the tape on it. They're very world renowned, and I say that because no matter the review, no matter anything that I'm seeing when it comes to these guys, they're always popular. And I've been putting them in all of my shorts. The most popular one being this fella, Warsman. And I mean, just look at the craft of the figure. Would you even believe this guy was 3 inches? Unless I told you? You wouldn't, because he's that well made. And I'll definitely do his own. Again, I think these guys are so good. I think they all deserve their own review. I have the Robin review up. I just think for the sake of, thematically, it would be a better content if we just do one mega video of Black Hole and Pentagon versus me chopping that up. Because I feel like that would annoy me as a viewer. I'd be like, bro, he made a Black Hole video and now he's gonna make a Pentagon video. Like, just make one big video. So. But I will make separate videos for Kinnikuman Great and Warsman and Toguro himself, Kinnikuman. I already did Robin Mask. I just had to do Robin first because, he's my favorite, and divine timing that he came in. Also, I have Revoltech Mini did more than just Kinnikuman. They did a couple of series, and the reason I say that these figures are popular is because the Kinnikuman ones are already kind of expensive. I would say the cheapest one you can find is Toguro himself, right? And even then, it depends on where you look. I've seen some places have him for like 30 or 40, but that's because people are just trying to get rid of the figure. And then I've seen some places charge like overpriced for like 100, which is ridiculous. I'm not saying he's not a great figure, but whenever I do his review, I'll explain to you why I don't think he's worth that price. Honestly, and this is not even a jab at the mini line, I think he's the worst one of all of them. And again, that's not even a jab at the line. That goes to show you how good it is that he's actually the lowest of the tiers, the lowest ranking in my opinion. But yeah, so just wanted to point that out for those dudes. But the reason I mentioned that is because I have another guy, and we'll probably do a review on him soon. This is from Sengoku Basara. This is Mitsunari Ishida. And I know he's not technically shonen, but the reason I mentioned it is because Sengoku Basara is pretty much like video game shonen. For those who, and it has its own anime. So, and this is where this guy comes from. I'm just trying to shout these guys out because it's all Revolt minis. He's actually, I've had this dude, it's funny, I love this character so much. I've actually had this figure when he first came out. And now I looked up how much he is, and he is ridiculously expensive. I mean, I don't blame them though. Let's take him out the stand. They're all gonna get their own reviews. These guys are great. So even though this is a Black Hole Pentagon video, I did want to shout these guys out because I feel like in the Robin Mask video, I didn't talk about all of them enough. I just kind of talked about Robin. You know what I mean? So honestly, pretty great. And again, look at the detail, look at the coloring, the articulation, the style. These are 3-inch figures, bro. You would never believe that. But the reason I mentioned that is because technically I wanted to get all of them. That's how much I like them. But in reality, I don't think that's gonna be possible just because the other ones, I already thought Black Hole and Pentagon were expensive, which they definitely were, but the other ones are like really pricey. Like I looked up, I'll probably put a picture of it right here. Let's talk about it real quick. You guys can skip ahead if you want, but they have Snake, right? I'll put it up here. They have Snake from Metal Gear Solid. They have Cyborg Ninja Gray Fox. They usually made the minis like in pairs, right? Because they wanted you to buy both. Because originally in Japan, when they were sold for a lot cheaper. They were sold for like $20, $30 a pop, right? Which is a great price for the quality of these guys. But that's my point. They would make them in duos. So they had Snake, they had Gray Fox, they had, who else? They had, the last pair that I'm thinking of was Iron Man and War Machine. And those would have been really cool to have. I do hope one day I can get them. I have seen listings for them, but every time I see a listing for a good price, by the time I came across that listing, they were already gone. So I'm not gonna pay like $200 for Iron Man and War Machine when I've seen people get that, like a pair of them for like 70. It just depends, like again, it's all about who's selling it. It's all about who's selling it. Again, PSA, don't use knives to open your figures. J-Man has to find his pair of scissors that he was using. All right, so let's get into it. So before I like get rid of the box, I was yapping about the Revoltech mini line so much. I didn't talk about the presentation itself. This is pretty standard issue. I'm not saying it doesn't look good. This looks great, but I mean, we can take a look really quick on the camera. Oh, I knocked over Toguro. I mean, look at that. I have a bunch of them right there, and you can pretty much see that they all garner the same style of box. So let me just put this dude back. I like putting them there just for the keep viewer attention. Anyways, you can see they have the all same style of box, right? The only difference really is obviously the namesake, the numbering, and then the promo on the back, which, so we're really talking about it. The only thing to really mention is the back, but I gotta admit, even though it's the only promo, dang, it looks good. And this is why, look, I'm glad I'm actually showing this. If you get great, these guys naturally encourage collecting one another. Cause look, if you get Toguro, sorry, I smacked the camera there. If you get Toguro, aka Kinniku Man, and then you get Kinniku Man Great, right? They give you the Gyudon hands, which anyone who knows Kinniku Man like actually is a fan, you already know what's up with that. It's like his favorite food. He always be singing about it and stuff. That's where Naruto gets the whole ramen gimmick from. It's in the DNA. Y'all just don't know. Anyways, but yeah, this guy is phenomenal. We'll do his own review. But I was just trying to compare the promo boxes. But yeah, this is Black Holes, and we'll get into it, but Toguro didn't come with it. But the rest of the line came with, because the line is supposed to be from the Dream Tag tournament. They came with like these cool looking like corner posts. Obviously I have the actual ring, but this is SH Figure Arts. this is as if, you know, this never existed at that time. So, and not even the older Tamashi ring, the red and blue corner one, that didn't come out yet either. So, yeah, a little bit of promo. So, the lore, almost forgot about that. Black hole. Who's Black Hole? Viewer, what the heck is a black hole? What the heck is a black hole? What is that? Sounds weird, sounds funky. So, Black Hole is pretty much one of the bad guys in Kinnikuman. And essentially, one of the Akuma Chojin. I'm sure you guys have seen the pictures and the shorts already, but the red buffalo dude, his name is Buffalo Man, and that big silver armor looking evil dude, his name is Akuma Shogun. They're pretty much part of this evil gang. Well, I don't want to call them a gang, but the same way that they have a team of the bros, the justice dudes, they also have a team of the bad guys. So there's that. So this is him fresh out the box. So I feel like the lore didn't go in deep enough. So he is one of those knights, right? His powers are, it's literally in the name, black hole. Like this guy has galaxy power, shadow powers, black hole powers. It's pretty crazy. I'm not, oh, he feels nice and sturdy. I mean, he better. Yeah, it's expensive. But this is the rarest, I think, of all the Kinnikuman figures I have. Him and Pentagon might be the rarest. That's why I had to put on the gloves using him. This guy is extremely hard to find. I got lucky when I saw the listing, and even when I saw the listing, I had to talk the guy down for like 2 weeks. Me and him going back and forth on prices. So, I think that's, and I actually want to get into that while we take a closer look at the figure, is tips 101 for trying to get figures. Don't always get the first price that you see. Look around, compare. Some people scalp, okay? And then you also have to be realistic as well, because then there's people who are not scalping. There's people who are just also other collectors trying to, you know, lighten their load. Not even trying to sound funny, but sometimes you collect so much, you don't even realize, you look back, you got caught up in all your feelings for these figures. You got too many. I know I've been there. I've had to offload before, so yeah, let's move on from that. But anyways, I say that because recently I've been able to find some amazing deals on stuff, and it's really just about where you look, right? And I think it's going to be some exciting reviews coming up, but let's get to the current exciting review. So let's just jump right into it. Now that you guys kind of know who he is a little bit in the lore, he gets defeated by Kinnikuman, but as many Kinnikuman villains, they just keep coming back, bro. But not like in a bad way, but more so they find ways to reuse the characters in new cool plot situations. And I like that. I mean, that's where other shonen get it from Kinnikuman. So that kind of explains his design for the most part. So he's fresh out the box. So I really love, let me see if I can find, I think the best example would be Kinnikuman Great. Yeah, we're going to show Great, and then we're going to show Toguro. We're going to show Great, and then we're going to show Toguro. But the reason I want to show him is because I want to talk about the presentation. And I say this in a great way. I want to highlight why I think Black Hole looks so good. So, my hand is big enough to fit all of them nice. So, and this is why I say these guys are great. Look at all three of them in my hand together. That's not even the whole line. I'm going to definitely have to do a video on the whole line by itself. But, yeah, you can see it. Look at Kinnikuman Great. Look how amazing the vermilion paint is on the skin tone. But then you can also see it if I come up close. On his actual shirt itself, there is a very soft kind of pearl, light blue, sky blue. The camera is capturing it really nice on his thing. This guy is like, I'm telling you, he might be the best one, low key. I wish they had a 6-inch version of this same exact figure. Literally the same exact thing, just bigger. Anyways, and then with Toguro, you can see, I mean, this is obviously the first release. You can see how it's kind of more orangey, not orangey per se, but like certain areas are strong. Like I can't even deny that looks orange. That's like a strong orange hue. So the shading is a little too powerful in certain areas, not in a bad way, but I guess in their eyes, since he's a mostly, you know, half-naked wrestler, not like in a funny way, but like, you know, traditional wrestler where he's just wearing the boots and the wristbands and the trunks and not anything else crazy. I guess in their eyes, they're like, okay, well, let's make up for it by, you know, giving him the movable eyes, which I'll get into that in his interview. I hate those. And let's give him, you know, more shading on the muscles. The reason I pointed that out is because Black Hole, as you can see, has this very glossy, and I say glossy in a good way, because certain figures, I don't like the gloss. I mentioned this in the last video, but they released a new Toji Fushiguro that I was interested in because I like Jujutsu Kaisen, and I think Jujutsu Kaisen will help the channel a lot. Probably going to do a Sukuna review just because it will help me get some views, but the point that I'm making is, I looked at that figure and he just looked way too glossy, which, depending on the character, gloss doesn't look right. Like Yuji or Sukuna, he's got a little shine to him, but he's mostly like a nice matte finish. And actually, I know this figure actually got criticism, but I like that figure. I'm not gonna even lie to you, I mainly just use him in the Sukuna form. So I call him Sukuna, but yeah, back to Black Hole. I was rambling a lot, but it's mainly just to emphasize how great I think the black paint job is. Only issue I kind of have with it, I guess seeing it up close, is it does pick up a little dust. But keep in mind, I am using the gloves, and you know gloves are bound to attract specks. And then he's also black, so it's not really a nice combination, but you guys get what I mean. You could easily just scrub him down really quick with a little, you know, cloth, and he'll be good to go. So I'm not really gonna, you know, use that as a slight. I do love the nice BH. See, the camera focuses, there we go. BH, nice and big. It looks really good. Yeah, there we go. It looks really good. I mean, obviously it's the same, the muscles look like the same mold as Kinnikuman himself. I'm not even gonna use that as a negative because, you know, these guys were just made to be small collectible figures. It wasn't their fault that, you know, 10, 15 years later, they would become like these extremely rare things. But only criticism I guess you could make is, even though these are supposed to be gloves, these are molded as forearms. But the reason I don't point that out as a criticism, and the reason I'm going to mention that is because I actually watched the old, someone has an old review of these guys up from like almost 10 years ago. I watched that one and he pointed that out as a criticism. I don't think that is a criticism, because if you actually read the manga, push his nerd glasses up, if you actually read the manga, you know that the art style, even though he's wearing gloves, the art style in Kinnikuman conveys the musculature through the gloves anyways. That's just the art style of the series. So, and these guys came out right around when the Perfect Origin manga was coming out. I know that because the Warsman comes with accessories from the Perfect Origin fight against, what's his name? Polar Man. So, yeah, that's the arms for you. I like this little, I like the belt. The reason I want to point that out is because some people don't have the best belt. Like Warsman's belt's all right, but you can notice sometimes the paint will chip. It depends on how you handle them. I've been doing my best to handle these guys very meticulously. Then you have the actual red on the trunks, which I actually think looks really great. Compared to the other trunks, actually. Even compared to Kinnikuman, because they're both red, right? Yeah, there we go. It's night and day difference. That's kind of badass. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have these dudes scrap up for the short. Yeah, and I love just, again, it emphasizes like that he's this galaxy type apparition. Just nice shiny red. It looks really good. And then I can't believe I skipped his head. That's like the most important part. I'm sorry about this little dust getting on him from my gloves. I really apologize. I feel like that's a little unprofessional. But look at that. He's got literally the black hole coming to him. You can see that in 4K. Such a cool visual, such a cool effect. Very nice, very well done. Nice side profile. You know you guys can't see it, but I'm smiling ear to ear right now. This is a really cool figure. This is really cool. I was waiting for these guys for a while. I was told they weren't gonna get here for like another 2 or 3 weeks, and then randomly I got a notification like, hey, your package is out for delivery. And I'm like, what? But yeah, it looks really good. These red things right here are supposed to be like for his cape accessory, which we'll get into in a sec. But yeah, really good. I think his presentation is top notch. Honestly, I have no real complaints. I mean, and this is just my fault because I was wearing the gloves, but I need to dust him off. But that's a me thing. But let's get into it. So, articulation, right? Well, before we get into articulation, let's look at the box. Actually, no, it's articulation, sorry. I'm all over the place. I'm just excited. I'm looking at this guy. We already got him in our hands, so I might as well. So let's take it from the top. He's got pretty good head articulation. That's one thing I'll say about this line. And the gap is really not that bad. I mean, especially considering that if you even had him in that pose, it would be in a driver. Like a Kiniko driver pose. Or buster. So you wouldn't even see the gap anyways. But gap is still pretty, like, good. I think that's good. Especially because he's all black. And like, nice. The hole effect really goes well as to accompany that. This is backwards. I'll admit, backwards is not impressive. But you can somewhat get a looking up pose if you combine that with the crunch. Yeah. I will say, in terms of the rotation, though, this is nice. You can get dramatic. You can get very dramatic rotations. So I actually think these guys' necks, not to sound weird, are pretty great. Especially this dude. Look at that. Not really good gap. He needs his own review. He needs his own review. I'm sorry. I find myself coming back to him. That's how good he is. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Pretty good stuff. For in terms of the head, sorry. Okay, arms. This is shoulder articulation. Honestly, pretty good. A lot less painless than the other guys, but I don't want to use the word painful because that just means the figure is sturdy, which means the joints are tight, which means it's in good condition, which means it's on the newer side. So that's not negative. It's the elbow, pretty good elbow. A little bad gappy, I'm not gonna lie, but given the scale of the figure, I'm willing to forgive that. And especially because most of the time, if you're pulling off drama shots, he looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Damn, playing with these guys, I wish I had Iron Man, low-key. Damn, don't tell me. He's a man on a mission. I'm gonna go on a mission to find Iron Man. Nah, chill. But anyways, yeah, I think the arm, elbow is pretty good. And then the wrist is, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but it's pretty standard affair for the Revoltech Kiniko Man line. Pretty good out, pretty good in, and then you can also extend if you want deeper, right? Obviously, this is for wrestling poses. So I think you can also just straight up take it off. So, pretty good, pretty good. Pretty impressed with this guy. And then this also swivels. Just wanted to make sure y'all caught that, because that's pretty important for certain poses. If you want to get like caught up in like a wrestling pose, like if you had someone doing like a, yeah, there you go. Just want to show off how impressive the articulation is for these little fellas. Yeah, wow. Really good. Wow. 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 Really good. Sorry, I'm just impressed by that. Especially because of how easy it felt to do that. It didn't feel like I had to force the figure. It didn't feel like I had to fight him. It feels like he was designed to be played with. It's funny, actually, more than so far. More than all of the other ones. He has felt the easiest to handle. Especially because I've handled all of them. A lot of them have this similar issue where the lower abdomen will pop out of the trunks. But it seems like this release, I mean, probably because he was one of the last ones to come out, or I think he was the last one to come out. Seems like they solved that issue. And it was a very simple fix. Just make the upper of the trunks bigger, chunkier, and, you know, taller, and then have the lower abdomen sit deeper. That way they don't intersect. And so far, man, yeah, look. Yeah, I was right, look. Yep, they did exactly what I just called out. Good evolution in design philosophy. And this is why I like collecting, like, especially with the Kin肉Man figures, like any figure line in general, when you collect multiple releases, you get to start to see how each release evolves from the previous issue, which is why I'm not trying to, like, you know, segue into something else, but which is why when it comes to the new Kin肉Man, this one, I have faith that if they make another one, he can be great. Because I think the issues that I have with him, again, he's gonna get his own review. I've just been trying to get the rarer reviews out of the door first, because there hasn't been a review for these guys in 10 years. But I think that this line has potential. So that's why I like to say I like collecting figures of the same series, even if they're not of the same scale, because it brings me joy. Like, I'll admit, he has a rival, Sanada Yukimura. And the one that I got is a Revoltech, but they didn't make a mini one for him. Not of him, obviously, this is the mini, but of Yukimura. So the one that I got is gonna be 6 inches, but obviously the shorts have been popping off. And in a lot of the shorts, I'm mixing and matching the minis with the 6-inch figures. And the reason I want to mention that is because the other day I was in the Reddit post and someone told me they didn't want to buy the minis because they felt like they wouldn't go well with the 6 inches. And I want to say that's totally wrong. Even though these guys are 3 inches, the level of detail and articulation and presentation that they have, like, even if you just put them next to one of these guys, they look pretty good still. Obviously, you're going to see a difference, right? However, I'm saying overall, in the grand scale of having them, I'd say it's good. So we've already covered the upper half. Let's do the ab crunch. Forward ab crunch is rock solid. Holy moly. Bro was like bending over to barf. Wow. Holy shnikes, Mikey. Backwards. Backwards is not as crazy. But one thing I want to point out as a positive, even though his backwards crunch is kind of, you know, okay. Like, I don't want to force it too much. Yeah. Even though it's okay, one thing I want to point out about some of the line is you notice that some of these guys, and obviously I know it was done on purpose because I own multiple Revoltechs, so I already know the design philosophy. The Revoltechs usually design these guys, you can see it right here, with a bit of a hunchback. Not even a bit, a lot of a hunchback. But the hunchback, like, doesn't look bad because most of the time you're posing them from the front or you're posing them from the side or you're doing a dramatic, you know, stop motion. You're doing something dynamic with them, so it looks good. But the reason I only pointed that out is because a lot of times if you want to get them to stand straight up, yeah, look, I already actually have Warsman was the perfect example. I already have Warsman standing all the way as straight up as I possibly can. Only way I could get him to stand more straight up is if I took one thumb, forced his lower abdomen straight, and then took another hand and then straightened out his back. And that's like me kind of doing, like, breaking his back, but not literally breaking his back, but yeah, look, that's as straight as I can get him to stand up. Versus like Black Hole, he's got a nice, this is like a good neutral pose. Like, that's a solid standing silhouette. Versus him, yeah, wow. Wow. I'm actually very happy I'm noticing this. This is a big difference. And I'm glad that I'm getting this on video because most videos I've seen, people never talk about these figures side by side. I don't know why. Great. Like I said, he was an improvement. He was a big improvement. I love these figures. The only thing I don't like is if you want to swap faces, you have to heat up their face to soften the plastic to then take it out and then heat up the other piece to then replace it. And for me personally, it's just a personal thing. I don't know, I get very nervous about stuff like that, which is a shame because for Warsman, I want to use the Warsman smile. But I'm nervous. So if any collector comes across this video, because the reviews have started to get traction, if one of you guys get to this point and you saw that comment I just made, I don't know, hit me up, shoot me a message. Let me know if you got any advice. I've seen people mention the hair dryer trick, but I don't know. So, his leg articulation, he doesn't even really suffer. I spoke too soon. It's not as bad. So the other Kiniko man had this issue. I've spoken about this in the Robin interview. You can kind of see the trunks doing it right there. Where because of how the legs articulate, if you get the thigh or the leg caught in a certain way, the trunk will get caught underneath the thigh and mess up the trunk. And it could be, certain people I've seen post that it led to permanent damage, but I'm gonna blame them on mishandling the figure. Even though I can't deny that is like a criticism, but what I'm trying to get at is Black Hole doesn't seem to suffer from that. And that's pretty impressive. So you can get pretty high up. Tatsumaki Senpu Kyak. And does not feel stiff. You know what I mean? So honestly, I'm pretty impressed. And his legs go up pretty dang high. I mean, when I hit him with the Kaneko Buster later, I mean, he's a bad guy, right? He's meant to be beat up. And dude, he can pull off some pretty cool... You know what I like about this? I mean, I don't have it, but isn't this like a cool skateboard pose? And that's why I think the minis are so cool, because they're very good looking and very articulated and stylized, and yet like your imagination could go crazy with them, especially because they're 3-inch scale. It's a lot easier to find and acquire. I mean, even 1/6 scale, you can find accessories for that, but you get the point I'm making. Like, people throw out cheap G.I. Joe bikes and guns and stuff like that all the time. So imagine having a crazy battle royale with these guys and just like on the bike and all that. It'd be really cool. That'd be really cool, actually. So, but yeah, that's the legs for you. Let's move on to the knees. Honestly, the knees are pretty good. I think his articulation overall is pretty good. That's the foot. Foot goes pretty far back, pretty far forward. Nice rock, nice rotation. Very easy for me to handle. Look, I didn't even struggle right there. That was very simple for me to manipulate that ankle. And one thing I noticed, I don't even want to bother testing it, but it probably does come off because this is already sliding. This line, well, Toguro doesn't have it, but Warsman has it, Robin has it, and it seems like Black Hole has it, where you can take off, their bottom boot. I mean, yeah, their foot, and then take off the upper part of their boot. For Robin, it's a gimmick to simulate him removing his armor, but I'm not sure why Black Hole has it. I guess it's cool still, but I wouldn't use it personally, but it exists. So I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, that's the feet for you, that's the ankles. I feel like we covered kind of all the articulation for Black Hole. You know what I mean? He's pretty cool, right? I'm definitely gonna have fun with the Kineko Man thing of, you know, him trying to punch and then it getting absorbed. That's pretty cool. So that's essentially, I know it seems kind of short-winded, but these guys are minis, so there's not always as much to cover with them. Even my Robin mask review ended up being 45 minutes long, so we're already hitting about that mark, so let's get into the accessories. That's Black Hole for you guys. I wanted to give a super in-depth review because this figure's super rare, and you know, I haven't seen a review go up in almost 10 years for this guy, so I feel like this will be a more updated review for the zeitgeist of collectors or just people who are coming across this video and are curious, you know, about what the figure's about. So, oh, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Oh, don't worry about him. That's what the accessories are looking like. So yeah, as I mentioned, you know, the tag pole, or the corner post, sorry. Little stand they come with. This one is really cool. I'm gonna use this in the stop motion. This is essentially like, so remember I told you his power is like shadows? Like he'll essentially be like down here, and you think he's somewhere else. Oh snap, and the head is actually articulated. I did not see the previous review mention that. That's cool, you can spin it around. You get a little dramatized. That's a really cool effect. Thumbs up. And then this is why I say these figures came out when the Perfect Origin, keyword manga, came out, not the anime, because the anime didn't come out for another 10 years, crazy as that sounds. That's how you know Kinnikuman Command fans are diehard. But essentially, this is from his fight against one of the Perfect Chojin. And the way that it works, I want to show you guys this on stream, because the review that I saw, he didn't do it. So this peg, this is supposed to be like a shadow cape. So I think his move is actually called Cape Shadow or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't have Black Hole's moves memorized. He's not saying I don't like the character, but I don't play him all the time in the game. Just trying to get it on for you. Yeah, so this peg meets back here. That's the peg that I'm trying to get to meet. Okay, I got it to meet. Ooh, that's why it's so hard to get in. I don't even mean that in a bad way, but because it's extremely sturdy. That's nice, feels very nice. I guess my only complaint is it seems like when he has the cape on, it limits his neck articulation a little bit. Yeah, I definitely lost articulation because of that. I guess it just depends on you use it, right? Because if you're up here, he's not gonna get it. But if you're down here, he gets it. So maybe just use it like this. Wow, the camera is making him look really cool. What do you think, guys? Is Black Hole cool? Drop a like or a comment and subscribe. If you think Black Hole is cool? You want to see more rare Kinnikuman stuff from J-Man? Let me know. Honestly, this accessory alone, plus this accessory, I already thought the figure looked great, but this just upped the coolness factor by like 5 points. It's kind of crazy. And then also, obviously, it comes with a bag full of hands and an extra stand. So these guys come with like 2 or 3 stands. They come with a lot of stands. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, so just for the sake of the video, why don't we just leave Black Hole right there. See if we get him to hang out off the rope. Is he gonna stick to the rope? Nope. All right, that's perfect. All right, so let's move on to Pentagon. This video might end up being a longer one, but I don't want to really clickbait and drip feed. I'd rather just put out a mega big video featuring both of them rather than, you know, like I mentioned last time, making 2 separate videos. Because for all that, whoever's interested in just one character, just skip ahead. So, box is the same, not gonna waste time, but we will look at the back. I'll show the side really quick. I'm just not gonna waste as much time with it. Pentagon EX. So I noticed that some of them are called EX. And the EX ones are like literally what is in the title, extra. But I also noticed that the EX means they're a little special. There's a couple of EXs that exist. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I'm gonna Google them and I'll drop them right here for like 2 or 3 seconds. All right, cool. But yeah, here we go. I've always wanted this figure because he looks so cool, kakoi. Look at that, like the pure white, pearly white. They gave him these amazing figures. So the lore for Pentagon. Pentagon, originally when he was introduced, was not even related to this dude. We didn't even know him. I guess it just so happened to be that he was designed and created and introduced. Then he got killed off. And then this character was designed and created and introduced. And then he got killed off. And then randomly in one arc, they're like, hey, you remember us? Yeah, well, we're related and we're a tag team. And we're cool as hell. And everyone just rolled with it because of the rule of cool. I mean, look at these guys. They look like they were meant to be brothers. So it's definitely going to be Muscle Brothers versus them. I mean, even the manga did that because they knew it was cool. So Let me just move Black Hole's little fist, that way it doesn't get lost. But yeah, really good. I love the promo shots of him on the pole. Definitely gonna play around with that later on myself. That's the Kronos change. So a little lore. Pentagon pretty much is supposed to be an American Seigi Chojin who showed up, I think it was during the 21st Chojin Olympics, or was he in both the 20th and the 21st? I'm trying to remember. I think it was in both. But off the top of my head, from me reading it literally in recent history, he was definitely in the 21st Chojin Olympics, and he got slaughtered by Warsman. Looks a little funky in the packaging, but he is coming all the way from Japan, so I'm just grateful he got here alive and in one piece. But yeah, it's a little bit of the Pentagon lore. If you guys are wondering why he has a star on his face when he has big wings, he pretty much has like time manipulation powers, which sounds broken, but somehow in the series, he's not like crazy broken. But it's also weird because then in the new anime, Black Hole had a fight and then somehow resurrected into this guy, and then it makes him seem pretty broken now. So I don't know, it's all over the place. Holy smokes. I feel like I'm holding a god figure. Kami figure. Like, just look at the stellar, superb white. The reason I say the superb is like, it's like this crazy, yeah, the camera's picking it up beautifully. Yo, he looks like Silver Surfer, except like more godly. That is insane. That is super Sugoku Berishimo. And I wanted to talk about his sturdiness off rip because he already feels the sturdiest of any other Revoltech I've used. Like, of all them. Even more than him. And he was great. Damn, recording the shorts for these guys is gonna be fun. Yeah, these guys are super rare, super expensive. I actually almost paid almost 2 beans. I didn't pay 2 beans exactly. Again, like I said, I talked the guy down. But all the other listings I saw were like trying to charge you $500 for the pair, which I don't want to say. Oh, that's new. Okay, nothing crazy. But glad we caught it on stream, because then I almost hyped this guy up. You know what I'm saying? And then that happened. And I don't do reviews for clicks. I do it honestly. That is a criticism. So just be mindful when you're handling this shoulder. Maybe it's just my copy. But that's my point, exactly. If that's just my copy, why would you want to pay crazy prices unless you're an extreme fan like I am for a super rare figure like that? But something to be mindful of with that. I guess it just might be my copy. I don't know. But the right shoulder feels fine. It was just the left shoulder that's giving me that weird issue. But the figures are all about how you handle them, so it could be a skill issue. I don't know. For now, though, that is of note. That is of note. But back to presentation. He looks great. I mean, there's not much to talk about because, I mean, look at the character. So it's kind of just like, well, does the white look good? And yes, the answer is it looks phenomenal. It's like they, not only is it white, but it has like this amazing glossy pearly accent, right? That really just hugs the muscles. Kind of similar to Kin肉Main Gray. Yeah, you can kind of see it, except where his is more of that blue, purple, beautiful hue, his is more of a pearly white, silver, kind of. So, still looks pretty good. This shoulder thing is just bothering me because it just looks like the previous owner probably messed it up and then put the socket back in wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But other than that, he feels pretty great. But yeah, it's the presentation for the most part. And then, yeah, the most important part, his face. Could also change. So it's funny. Let's talk about his name. And Ultimate Muscle, the English 4Kids localization, they renamed him from Pentagon to Starface. Because obviously Starface. But then they also made it Starface as a reference to Scarface. But then there's another character who's actually named Scarface. And then they changed his name from Scarface to Escara. Like, what the hell? Unnecessary. But I guess they just didn't want to, I don't know, leave his name Pentagon. I don't know why they would change it. Maybe they thought it was offensive. But yeah, it's him in a nutshell. I feel like we should be showing the figure off with his wings. But that is low-key an accessory. But it's part of the design. So I feel like if I'm not showing him off with the wings, it's not really Pentagon. That's Pentagon. That's how he's supposed to look. Now the review really started. Yeah, that's the character. This accessory looks fire. I wonder if it will fit on anybody else. Nah. Maybe Warsman. Let's check Warsman. Yo, literally drop a subscribe, bro. You're not getting this content anywhere else. Nah, bro. I'm using this for a stop motion. This goes crazy hard. Yo, that's gas. Tell me that's not gas. It's just something I thought of off the top of my head. I'm like, yo, would that work? And it works perfectly. I wonder, it probably works with other Revol minis. This is why I like collecting figures, man. You get to mix and match and customize. I feel like that's such a big part of collecting that I don't really see a lot of people mention. But I guess that's just not where their head is at. Gotta imagine a little bit. You gotta be like, yo, imagine if Warsman could do this. And then he found, look, we just found out he could. Can Kiniko Man great? I'm about to get like a jillion views from the Japanese viewers because of this, because Japan loves Kiniko Man great. That's gas. That's fire. Oh my god. This is the best accessory ever. This instantly makes Pentagon worth it. I'm not trying to spoil nothing, but you could do like the Goku. Sayonara minna. Nah, I'm dead. That's fire. And he looks mad cool. Damn. Low key. I'm glad I got Mitsunari. I knew to put my money in the Revol mini line. But the problem is, I've been buying other figures other than Revol minis. I don't really think I wowed out. I prevented myself from getting unnecessary figures today, because I almost got some Naruto ones, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I already have Naruto and Sasuke. Why do I need more? But yeah, just want to test it out. Looks really good. Looks great on him. Fits very snug. Has a little bit of a gap there, but it's nothing crazy. That's fine, right? You could still kind of sandwich that in if you wanted to anyways. See if we could get like a cross-armed posed. Ore wa Pentagon. Baby, stop the time. Baby, stop the time. But yeah, Pentagon. Oh man, that arm thing's really gonna annoy me, huh? Yeah, that's a negative right there. I mean, it's not like it doesn't work. It works, but like, as you can see, I have to keep sandwiching it in there, and like that is annoying. But remember, like I said before, this is an older line, guys. So you have to be, quality can kind of vary, like depending on who you're buying it from, right? This is all right. I feel like I could do better, but I just want to kind of show it off. Pretty cool. I think it looks pretty cool. I like the articulation. I think the wings look great. The paint job is phenomenal. Articulation is pretty much the same for the most part. I mean, I already showed off most of it in the upper body. Head has a pretty good... Honestly, head is better than Black Hole. Yeah, head is better than Black Hole. Look at that. You can get pretty extreme with it. I also think it's just the added benefit of, and very smart engineering, because do you see these pegs? This is where instead of, because we plugged up his back hole, which is usually, I mean, for the Revoltech minis, they come with like a little stand they could plug into their back. But with him, they were like, well, you know what? Since he has wings, let's just make his wings plug into the back. That way the figure himself doesn't get limited by the wings. It's very smart, and I think there's a reason why the Pentagon is super sought after and expensive, is because he's just a very well engineered, very cool looking, you know what I mean? Space of Hakonda. I already know the exact scene I'm gonna depict. Looks super cool, man. Dang, even with the arm issue, I have to take off a point for that because I'm not a liar, but other than that, really good. And the legs, no issues with the legs, unlike Robin, which I think Robin is just really tight. Oh, his foot came out. I think my Pentagon is just a little loosey-goosey. I mean, not loose. He feels very sturdy and strong. So let me watch what I say, but you know, it is, well, we're in 2026 now. I think this guy is like 12, 13 years old. So it's a 12, 13-year-old 3-inch figure. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be totally perfect, but if I had to give it a rating, I would say 9 out of 10. Ugh, the arm thing is killing me. Maybe an 8 out of 10, because he just keeps doing it. Yeah, he literally just keeps doing it. There's probably a way I can fix that. But I'm a little bit of a rookie when it comes to a little DIY figure repair stuff. But considering that's just a joint, there's probably a way to fix that. So I'm not gonna totally knock it, but you can probably tell by the sound of my voice, once I record the short, he's probably gonna go back in the box. Just because he's rare, and I don't want to mess with the joints like that. But he looks great. So, let me put the wings back on. Yeah, I know that the Pentagon section doesn't really seem as long as the black hole section, but it's because, I mean, they're the same body, essentially. Like, actually, let's take a look. Yeah, they honestly look like the same mold, except because of the finish, there's different finishes. This is a gloss finish, this is a matte finish. Because of the different paint finishes, the muscles feel different. Like, if you were to have the figures in your hand, this guy would technically, quote unquote, feel bulkier than this guy. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the color scheme, but sorry, I had to get the right angle. Maybe it's just because of the color scheme, but the white thighs look a little chunkier than his thighs. Like his legs, some of the muscles look a little beefier than him. But I could be wrong. Yeah, I think I'm wrong. No, I think I'm right. I mean, look at this quad specifically. Looks a lot bigger than his quad. I don't know. I'm just trying to be as meticulous as possible because, again, who's reviewing these figures? I don't think there's going to be someone that randomly puts up a Revol Mini Pentagon review. And if they do, that's awesome. More people should talk about the figures. More people should be buying Kin肉Man stuff. But I think he's pretty cool. I like him a lot, honestly. I would have given him a 10 if it wasn't because of this arm thing, which, again, please, hardcore collectors, if someone is watching, or I might just do a post myself, I don't know, but I want to solve that joint and Robin's joint. Little 2 joint issues I have, but that's okay. Like, if you collect a lot of figures, I hate to say this, but part of the beast is you're gonna have to learn how to help out some of your fellows. That's not knocking the figure, that just means you just gotta show them love. I'm gonna show you love, Pentagon, I got you. Yeah, that's the figure in a nutshell. Ab crunch is pretty much the same. I would say his is a little better than Black Hole's. He gets a little further back. And then the forward crunch, especially for someone who has wings, is pretty stellar, right? Again, You can do like really cool, dramatic flying poses. I know I'm gonna be having fun with that in a little bit. Overall, I think he's just a really solid figure, to be real with you. It's kind of like my Pentagon Black Hole. Yeah, final thoughts on, oh, well, before I get into the final thoughts, let me show his accessories. Not as much, I'll admit. Not as, comes with the Revolt stickers, the mini stickers. Can you believe it? I was looking at postings, someone was trying to sell these stickers for $30. Like, yo, y'all would do anything. But yeah, he comes with another corner post. One thing I noticed that also Pentagon, I mean, not Pentagon, that Black Hole had as well, I guess I already put it to the side, is they have like an extra big. Yeah, look. Okay. Yeah, I did put it to the side. They have an extra big corner post. I wonder why. I'm about to find, oh, I'm assuming to connect. Oh, no way. That's kind of gas, actually. I never knew that. I mean, I'm assuming that's the intention. Let's figure it out. I've never seen anybody post that. No, it's not the intention. Oh, wait, it is the intention. Oh, because you get them to stand back there. Damn, this is gas. Ah, man, these figures are cool, guys. If these reviews are not convincing you, that's okay. But I already convinced myself. But yeah, not as many, I'll admit, with Pentagon, not as many accessories. Yeah, these are just hands and the stand. So kind of lacking in the accessories department, but they're also banking on you to, there's one more accessory, I'm gonna show it off right now, I just wanna put it this way. They're also banking on you to like think that this guy is so cool that it's worth it, and then this is the best accessory ever, because it's clearly, I just showed it on stream, it literally lets you do the Goku death scene with like any character you want. It's awesome. So that's pretty great. And then this is like his little, you know, his feather, I call it the Fukatsu feather. Basically, Fukatsu in Japanese means revival. So I call it the Fukatsu feather because whenever he throws the feather or the feather shows up or something with feathers in the story with Black Hole, he's able to just revive. So that's why I call it the Fukatsu feather. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So yeah, guys, that was the 4D Killers, Pentagon and Black Hole, Revoltech Yamaguchi Mini, Gyodo. And I have to admit, these guys are great. These guys are pretty great. Final thoughts, because we're getting towards that hour mark. Final thoughts, I think that they're extremely rare. They're hard to find. I think they're very expensive. Do I think they're worth it? I mean, looking at them up close, I'm not gonna lie, personally, I felt like they were worth it. But this is also because you can see I had the whole line, including, and this is just a highlight of the Revoltech minis. This actually transcends Kin肉Man. Like, these mini guys are just designed so well that, again, many years ago, I only had these two, actually. I only had these two. It was only until recently that I started getting the rest of these guys, because these two were so good that I'm like, yo, I need the rest of them. Like, they're so good. So I think these are great. I think these are fun to play with, to collect, to use. But I also think that don't let the scale fool you. This still is a collector's piece, kind of, in the sense of, I'm gonna use this as an example. If someone was watching my channel and was like, J-Man, I wanna buy a figure for my son, I would say, okay, why don't you get him Goku? Why don't you get him Yusuke? Or even Kin肉Man, right? I wouldn't say, go hunt down Black Hole or Pentagon. I wouldn't say that, just because not only are they rare and expensive, but then when you actually get the figure, I feel like you have to have a little experience with handling figures to like totally handle them safely and then not have to worry about messing them up. There was already a few things that I explained, like the trunks thing, sometimes with the joints giving you issues, like with him or Robin, just because they're a little older and rare. So I feel like because of these factors, it might be something that, again, Kinnikuman Man fan, collector, double thumbs up. Not a Kinnikuman Man fan, just a collector, still 2 thumbs up, just watch the price. But for younger audience member, if you want to get into collecting, then maybe you would feel like, because I already feel this way about them and a couple other Kinnikumans, you look at them and you feel like, wow, I have a valuable piece. It brings me emotional fulfillment. I'm glad I have this. I've completed the set. He looks great. Then yes, get them. But if you're more of one of my casual viewers, and there's nothing wrong with that, I welcome everyone. If you're one of my casual viewers and you're just trying to look at what kind of cool stuff I have and whether or not this would be one of the things that I have that's cool that you will want, maybe not. Maybe just because it's harder to find, a bit pricier. I paid close to like what? Maybe like one. I talked the guy down a lot. It was like 150, 140, 130, somewhere like that. He originally wanted like 2 something. So I talked him almost out of 100. But I talked him out of that much because I'm like, well, they're not literally brand new, right? And then I was like, because it's not like it's not like Warsman and Robin where they had the plastic on them still. And I was like, you know, also who is trying to pay, well, let's be real here, bro. I'm a Kinnikuman fan. I'm like, who's trying to pay this price for these figures? I'm like, how long have you been holding on to them? He's like, you know what, you're right. So sometimes when it comes to buying, you just gotta think from collector to collector. I really do love his standing up though. Like his standing up does look way, I know I'm just kind of looking at it in the final thoughts. His standing up pose looks the best out of all of them. Like it just looks very natural, no hunch. But it's probably the wings back here covering the main hunch that's actually doing him that justice. But damn, he looks freaking cool. He looks cool as hell. But yeah, that's my final thoughts kind of. If you're someone who's trying to jump into this line, because I definitely think the line is worth jumping into, I would say these guys are like the final piece, because they were the final piece for me, right? I started off with him, and then from him, I got lucky and I started looking online literally within like the last month or 2. And then I found him for a cheap price. I found him for like 40, 50 bucks. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a steal. Especially because most people are charging double that. And then I posted on the subreddit, and Amazon was, I don't know if somebody bought him. I don't think so, because I kept checking afterwards. Nobody bought him, but Amazon had him for a 50, 60, which is a steal. And then I saw, luckily, an American seller was selling great. And that's a cool thing. It's all about timing. If you look at the right time for Kinnikuman merch, you'll usually find a collector just trying to let it go for a reasonable price. He was trying to let this guy go for like 40 or 50. And I was like, oh, for sure. Especially if you look at the other postings, it's crazy expensive. The only guy who is always expensive no matter what is this handsome devil Robin mask. No matter American seller, import seller, they know that the character is popular. You see, his knee thing's kind of working for me now. Not as bad. I think the joint was just tight. But anyways, they know that the character is popular, so they're like, you know what, we're gonna tax you. I know, because even the SH, no matter where I looked, I could not find the SH under like $100. So, but yeah, that's gonna be it today for the 4D Killers. After this, make sure you guys stay tuned for a short featuring the short 4D Killers. I'm gonna whip that up really quick. And then after that, after I whip up that short, obviously I'm gonna post a review and the short at the same time. And then this evening, I might do a Muscle Brothers with K-Stack. And other than the Muscle Brothers, maybe later on, late night, might do a look back. And then depending on how I feel, if I'm by myself, I'll probably just record some shorts. And it's like I said in the post, I'm not gonna do like a crazy anime, like multiple anime stop shorts. So I'm gonna differentiate it. There's gonna be normal figure shorts, which are just like showing off the figures with cool music and stuff. And then there's gonna be the anime ones, which are the ones that I've been doing in recent history, in which, you know, in which I in which I add all the voice effects and I add like the intros from the video games and like the, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys have been watching them clearly because it's funny, I was super critical on myself about the Broly and Neptune Man one. I thought people were gonna find it annoying and like dislike it because I even saw that I lost a subscriber. And then I get to putting up the Toguro. Wow, he looks so good. Oh my God. Sheesh. I get up to putting the Toguro review and I look and all of a sudden the Broly Neptune Man short has become my most viewed short. It has almost 3,000 views. That's insane. I knew that the tag team of Broly and Neptune Man was going to be popular. So if you guys want to see more stop motion anime battles, let me know. Like, subscribe, comment for more J-Man. I know this review is very long, but these guys are super rare and super old. I felt like they deserved it, especially because, excuse me, let's be real here. Who's someone gonna put up a review for him tomorrow? Probably not. So, hope you guys enjoyed this maximum resolution 4K Black Hole Pentagon 4D killers. I'm sorry, I'm dragging the outro out because now I'm starting to play with them. But it's usually during the outro where I build up the energy to do the stop motion. So you can clearly tell by the fun I'm having that we're about to cook. So stick around, watch that. Hope y'all have fun. Like and subscribe for more of this kind of content, and see you guys around.
インスタントチームの最大の弱点であるチームワークの乱れが出たようだな。このチャンスにマッスルブラザーズを空中分解させてやる。おっと掴んだ。四次元殺法ブラック大きい四次元交差ロモスチェンジ
球場の 4D が決まった。